Hi, I'm Pam with PJ's Glass Creations. Join me today and you will learn how to make this kind of a Scandinavian design woven heart just in time for Valentine's Day. Let's get started. To make a Scandinavian woven heart, all you need are squares, and you need to be really careful when you cut out the squares that they are indeed very square, that the edges are exactly 45. If you have a cutting system, it helps a lot, because if they're a little bit off, it's going to make it a lot more difficult. But all you need to do, these are 1-inch squares, is make a checkerboard out of it. And then you would think that since each of these is 1 inch, that this would be 3 inches. But what I have discovered is a lot of times it's not, because there's little microscopic gaps here, and then this piece and this piece here end up being the wrong size. So what I like to do is make my square first, then make a little mark where I'm going to cut. And I will take it to my cutting system. I have a Morton system, and I will cut that, and I will be right back. So I've cut my pieces. All I'm going to do now is just draw. Actually, I'm going to measure about 1 inch in. Remember, these are 1 inch wide, so I can use my pieces themselves to measure. And I'm going to make a curve that goes from this inch all the way to the corner. And if you can't draw a very good curve, you can always find something to trace. Now I'm just going to cut that. And I'm going to clean it up on the grinder. I have ground the corners so that they're rounded. I also kind of layered them to make sure that they were fairly close to being the same size. And all you need to do is put this here, and there is your woven heart. Then you can put it on a plate, which I will show you next. Now that I've made my woven heart, or at least cut the pieces for my woven heart, I'm going to make a plate out of it. And I'm using this mold here. It's 9 inches square. I got it from Slumpy's. There is no mold name on the back, so I can't help you with what mold it is, but I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. And I have not assembled any of my pieces yet, but I have a 9-inch white piece. I have a 7-inch clear piece. I have 4 pieces that are 7 inches by 1 inch. Those are the pink pieces here. They'll go like this. And I have my 1 inch by 1 inch red corners. So it'll be assembled something like this. But before I do that, I got thinking about it. And if I'm building this plate, you can't really see my white pieces because it's white on white. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some pink powder underneath this, kind of as a shadow almost, I guess. So I'm going to, actually, you know what, before I do anything, I'm going to glue my heart onto here, and then we'll do the powder. So I'm going to kind of do a dry run. Make sure all of my pieces fit together nicely. And if they don't, you might need to grind a little bit. It's actually pretty important that you get a clean cut on these. right, it's going to look something like that, but I'm noticing that my heart is not centered. I'm gonna try to move it over a little bit. So that it's more centered like that. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So I'm gonna start gluing. I'm using a Gorilla Glue super glue. If you use super glue, don't use a gel. It'll leave marks. And once I get this first piece down, I can use it as a guide for all my others. Now that I have my heart glued on the clear, I want to just kind of get a visual of where my heart's going to be on my plate, because I want to make sure that when I put my powder down, it's actually larger than the heart, so it offsets the heart a little bit, shows it up a little bit more. So I kind of can see where that's going to be. I have some Bullseye pink opal powder. I should be wearing a mask, but it's hard to do a video and talk at the same time, so I'm going to be bad and not do it, but I strongly encourage you to wear a mask. And I have this little sifter. I'm just going to put a nice, even, light coat of pink all around the middle. And I find that you usually always need a little bit more powder than you think you do for it to show up. So I'm going to do one more. Right, hopefully that'll show up better once it's fired. And now I'm going to glue my edges on. Again, my reds are 1 by 1. I need to be very careful to line this all up. The other thing I need to be careful about is I don't want to mess with that powder that I put down. So I'm going to avoid touching anything inside my border. I'm going to put my clear next, so I'm not trying to squeeze it in. I actually don't even need to glue this one because it'll be held in by the borders. And I'm going right on top of that powder that I put in. The reason I turned that one is it wasn't quite lining up here. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you just don't get a perfect cut. I'm going to let this dry for a second, and then I'm going to clean it up to get all of my fingerprints off of it, and I'm going to put this in for a full fuse. I'll post the schedule right after this, and I'll see you after it's out of the kiln. So my plate is out of the kiln. I know you probably can't see it too well on the camera, but it looks to me as if that heart really is floating above that pink powder that I put. So next I'll put it in a mold and I'll show you when it's done. My plate is done. You can see the mold that I put it in. Kind of a wavy edged mold. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And also visit me on my Etsy site, pjsglasscreations.etsy.com, or you can find me on Facebook. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.